With the longest private beach that I've ever seen at a resort, you would think that this would be an easy choice. But when you combine Four Seasons luxury with Motel 6 hospitality, it leaves you more confused than anything else. I'll explain in this full resort tour. Let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best, and some of the not so best, airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full-time for the past 4 years. Check out my hundreds of videos, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to learn more about how I do things. This tour of missed opportunities begins now. Welcome to the north coast of Langkawi. We're heading to one of the island's most beautiful resorts, set on sprawling grounds on a beach that is literally a mile long. And that's just the part that the Four Seasons covers. Yes, this 48-acre resort is a mile from top to bottom. So you've got to be thinking, where could they have gone wrong? What could they have done? And the very simple answer is, it's much more about what they didn't do. The arrival experience here is pretty low-key. I'm speaking about the design, but also the staff, from the bellhops to the reception. They're more casual and nonchalant, not in a good way, than you would expect at a Four Seasons. You'll be led through a series of beautiful passageways which are much more reminiscent of Morocco than anything that I've ever seen in Malaysia. The resort originally opened in 2005 with 92 rooms and villas. In the mid-2010s, the property had a full facelift led by the renowned Bill Bensley. From a design perspective, being here reminds me a bit of the Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Krabi that I reviewed last year. The entrance experience and the resort experience at first seem completely disconnected in design, only to find out later that those passageways that you walk through and the mixed Indian, Balinese, Moorish, and Middle Eastern design cues were there to purposely shake up your perceptions a bit as to what was to come. The official reception area to the left is a gorgeous cave-like room covered in blue tiles, but your check-in experience will take place at a separate outdoor pavilion just off to the right. Leaving that space behind, the first thing you come across on the left is quite oddly, in my opinion, the event space, with shops and stuff to the right. Considering how sprawling this place is, why on earth would you put the event space as the first thing that every guest sees as they walk into the property? As we have our first walk around the grounds heading to the beach, let me explain where this one missed the mark for me. It's all about the service. The vast majority of resorts that I review, I purposely visit during low or shoulder season. While I think you can review a property fairly during peak periods, it's more difficult, especially with staff shortages in some markets. Low season offers lower rates and a much higher staff to guest ratio. I think it's the easiest time for any resort to shine, to show off what they can do. Or at least what they're meant to do. In the case of this Four Seasons, I literally just felt like I was there alone. I don't mean the only guest, but I mean it was like I was the only person there. Almost as if the staff were not trained to interact with guests. I walk around a lot when filming, obviously, with or without the camera in my hand. It was striking to me how many staff, whether buggy drivers, bellhops, gardeners, literally whoever you would walk or drive by, they wouldn't say anything, they wouldn't acknowledge you. To the point where it just felt purposeful. It was so stark that when it comes to service at this Four Seasons, the only positive impression that I had service-wise was from my server at dinner and one older gardener who would always just warmly smile and greet me each time we crossed paths. It was just an incredibly awkward dynamic. I can understand having fewer staff during lower seasons, but I have to just put this in the context of the other 3 resorts on the island that I visited this same week. They were all borderline bustling. My flights leaving Langkawi were changed, so I ended up spending an extra night at the Aloft near the airport. And the service there, at that, $80 hotel, was better than here. Anyway, I won't harp on that too much more since there are a lot of beautiful grounds to explore, and, well, frankly, I can't show you the bad service. The beach is just insane. Like, you can't capture this on film. It's breathtaking. Let me quickly show you where we are so you can understand the layout of the resort. Langkawi isn't a single island, but rather a 99-island archipelago off the western coast of Malaysia in the Andaman Sea, and we are simply on the largest of the bunch. On the north shore of the island, we're around a 25-minute drive from the airport. Here, you can see the property itself, quite a long drink of water. I'll just let you enjoy the beach a bit as we walk towards the very, very Bill Bensley pool. This is giving me lots of the Slate Phuket vibes, but without all of the rubber tires. You can access this pool either from the resort side or from the beach. From any single given angle, the pool actually looks quite small, but it's more a fact that the area is split up into multiple private nooks than it is actually related to the size. During normal instances, this would be the family pool. I cannot overstate enough how much resort stays like this one truly would not be possible without your support on Patreon. So if you appreciate these kinds of completely unsponsored videos, please consider checking out my page. You can also help the channel continue to grow by liking this video and subscribing to the channel, or joining my YouTube channel memberships. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. Just next door is the Kalapa Grill, open for lunch. The resort has 24 villas and 68 rooms in pavilions, which are dotted around the property. As far as the pavilions go, there are 3 distinct areas and vibes based on their location. The pavilions at the northern end, set back from the beach, are my favorite. The surroundings are lush, dark, and dense, and give you a true escapist feel when you're walking around. Then there are a few quote-unquote beachfront pavilions which surround a sandy area. But note that these beachfront pavilions are actually set back from the beach and are just connected to that beach by a large sandy alcove. The third zone of sorts was a much more open area where my pavilion was, which we'll see soon. During my stay, the adults-only pool was closed for refurbishment. No notification was given of this prior to my arrival, and so they opened up one of the larger villas to serve as the adult pool while I was there. I should note that because it was raining during the early morning hours when I normally do film things, nearly all of this resort was filmed during the peak periods that I generally try to avoid. So in this case, we can say that the lack of guests in this video is an indication of low occupancy, which I just found so strange since the other resorts were, like I said, doing very well. It says a lot about something, I'm not quite sure what, but says a lot about something when the staff feel the need to put locks on their tricycles inside the resort. Towards the south side of the property, near my room, is where the resort's primary bar is, Rhu Bar, which is open in the afternoons and evenings and is beachside. Here you can have a very quick peek at the adults-only pool, which is being refinished. Okay, let's go head to my room. I booked with Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts for a garden view room on the ground floor and was upgraded to a garden view room on the first floor. Or second floor, depending on where you are. Continuing with the Moorish cues, the rooms are oversized and beautiful, decked out in calming neutrals and pastels. I'll let you have a look around as I put up the extra bits. The bathrooms were very unique with a central double basin with the closet space to the left, the shower and toilet to the right, and the large focal point soaking tub behind. My only bone to pick with the rooms are the doors, which I was going to say were a bit finicky, but I'll amend that to say the doors were a big pain in the ass. They were tricky to lock and unlock correctly, and they were just heavy as anything to slide. For dinner, your options are Serai, which is their all-day restaurant, which we'll see for breakfast, or Ikan, which serves up Malaysian cuisine and was one of the highlights of my stay on the island. For my starter, I had the karabu sotong with grilled calamari, young mango, onion, and coconut chili dressing. If I could bottle this salad and produce it on a large scale, I'm confident I could sell it and retire within 2 years. This was the best mango salad that I've ever had. I've lived in Southeast Asia for 10 years. Easily a 10 out of 10. The flavor, and more so the balance, was just as good as it gets. Sweet, spicy, sour, salty, with a touch of umami from the squid. For the main, I had the ayam percik, grilled, spiced, and marinated chicken with ginger, garlic, turmeric, coconut curry, and pineapple cucumber pickle. That was served with nasi minyak, essentially a plain biryani. If I had it again, which I would order plain rice since it just felt like it was heavy on heavy. That said, this was a stunning dish, 9.3 out of 10. Jackfruit, honeycomb, black pepper, black tea, these are the key words for desserts that piqued my interest. So the honeycomb ice cream was just a must try for me to finish off the meal. Just right, not too sweet, 9 out of 10. I'll say to all of you the same that I've said to some of my Patreons over the past couple of months. Visiting Langkawi is worth it. I wouldn't stay at the Four Seasons, but if you're staying on the island, kinda close to here, come here for dinner. The next morning, I headed to Serai for breakfast, and things got, well, a little bit awkward. First, let's take a look at the buffet, but before we look around, let me just ask you to recall what the buffet at the Ritz-Carlton Langkawi looked like, how many staff there were, the attention to detail, the beautiful finishes, etc. These resorts are the same price. So it would seem that my filming at breakfast brought the long-awaited hospitality out of its slumber. Within 10 minutes, I had 3 different managers introducing themselves to me, some of them multiple times, and I started to think it was them trying to get me to not film. I honestly wasn't sure. When I sat down to eat, as in with my plate of food in front of me, one of the managers came over and was talking to me, and I, of course, to him. He was standing kind of behind my right shoulder, and despite my polite cues and the fact that I was starting to actually eat, I eventually needed to excuse myself from the conversation so I could actually eat. It would seem that their service here is either a 0 or an 11. There was also an a la carte supplemental menu. My eggs Benedict were overcooked and still not heated through, a 5 out of 10. The pandan French toast, though, were delightfully fluffy, at an 8 out of 10. As we take a look around the fitness center, let me wrap this up with my final thoughts. Even with significantly better and consistent service, even with this incredible beach, I would still never choose the Four Seasons over the Ritz-Carlton or the Datai, which you'll see soon. It's really hard for me to explain how easy of a decision that would be. The Ritz-Carlton and the Datai are both cohesive and flawlessly run resorts in their own right, though they are very different. This Four Seasons feels disjointed. I almost have to wonder if it's too spread out. I know that sounds absurd, but from the styles to the colors to the settings, there was just too much about this objectively beautiful resort that felt disjointed, which really is a shame. So I do hope that you enjoyed this resort review today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on my twice weekly videos. If there weren't any copyright restrictions, I'd be playing Hello Darkness My Old Friend right about now as I say, I'll see you next time on Egyptair. Again. Thanks as always for watching until the end.